So I was just telling this to Rihanna. Everyone have seen the hashtag I am Google recently. So the story is that there was an event in the city, I think this week or next week, and an executive from Google came in and only 5 people showed. So he kind of banged on the table and said, I'm out of here, I'm Google. So if you're gonna search now on Twitter for the I am Google hashtag, you'll find like 1,000 jokes on that. I came back home, I just saw 3 people, I'm out of here, I'm Google. So that's kind of, so thank you for the early riser of coming. So my name is Guy Nirpaz, I'm co-founder, CEO of Totango. And I want to talk to you this morning a little bit about winning with customer success. Yesterday morning we had a panel that we talked about smart companies. And I also mentioned that I really like the fact that this year the SIA's annual event is focused finally on the business implications of cloud and not just how to build the technology that creates cloud. It works. Not yet. Do I need to turn this on or something? Let's try. Should I point it somewhere?
If you say I am Google, it's going to
Oh, okay. I think it went way too fast. All right. Okay. Yeah, it had like all the events were stuck in a queue. So, all right. So kind of at a very high level, customer success. Why is that important? People are talking about various things. The importance of post-sale, the fact that in subscription business, recurring revenue is the majority of the revenue. Companies need to recover for customer acquisition costs, but they make money on recurring revenue. And that churn is a critical component that we should figure out. And because churn is this event where customers actually leave and don't renew their contract. And also in subscription, land and expand is really important because a lot of the business model, in some cases, is let's start small, try it out, and then grow beyond that, right? A lot of businesses operate this way. So for that kind of big problem, there's this new term called customer success. And I would say that, just look at the companies that present here, 3 vendors of customer success out of, everything. So that 2013 really kind of emphasized the fact that this has become very important. And many companies these days are starting to think about, okay, what do I do with that? How do I deal with that? How do I get my head around it? We have a little bit, I would say, the way we look at customer success is a little bit different than the common way most companies think about it. We don't think that customer success is, we had the Customer Success Summit on March this year, great success, 5 times the attendance of last year. But if there was kind of one common theme that was there, was around this customer value. And I'm going to talk a lot about customer value, but everyone is talking about this kind of reverse funnel, right? You market to a company or a person, you acquire them, and then you grow them, and they become your advocates, right? It's kind of, this is where we want it to be. But how do we actually do that? It doesn't, people don't operate this way. They don't become advocates just because they are at a different part of the funnel. It's not, after they purchase, 6 months later, they become advocates. And that's important because I think when we are trying to actually solve this problem, we need to very carefully understand the fundamentals of the problem, and then we can come up with the right solution for it. So before we start, these are kind of my observations of the market realities today. So when we say customer loyalty is dead, we're basically saying that customers continuously have choice. It's not that they don't want to be loyal, but they first and foremost want to be loyal to themselves and to their businesses. So if they are happy and they get the business value that they're looking for, they will continue being loyal. And if not, they will not. Lock-in as business model is gone. And we see this all over. And I mean, the beauty of that is that I think in the past 4 years in which Totango existed, there was always this debate, yes, subscription is working and it's working for some companies, but the enterprise sales model, the perpetual model still works. So I think 2013 proved that no, it doesn't work anymore. And even if there are some companies that still operate this way, all of them are in transition. Sometimes the big companies take one step forward and two steps backwards because they are afraid with the implication of those changes. But I think it's clear that the lock-in model is gone and it's dead. And the speed in which we operate because of the cloud, and that's kind of the beauty of this event. It was all about the cloud in the past few years, and now we're talking about the business implication. The speed in which we make decisions, the speed in which businesses operate has changed dramatically. This is part of the cloud. Cloud has enabled all that. So I think we need to figure out a new approach for customer success, and that's kind of the majority of this conversation. And it is about now software that we don't buy it anymore and we just lease it has become very easy to consume. The challenge for us as software vendors is actually to keep the promise for the customer, right? I didn't come up with this phrase. It's Mike from Yammer who came up with that. But keeping the promise for the customer is the objective of the company, is the ultimate objective of customer success. So as a first, we came up with this typical customer journey for subscription business, I think a couple of years ago, while working with one of our customers. And basically, if you look at the green line, it's what we want the customer journey of a typical subscription business to be. Meaning that we want them to start and then very quickly to get to first value and then ongoing value and even grow over time. So that's kind of the optimal. You can see all the yellow and red points in which think about them as decision points for the customer in which they can make a decision to stop being on the green curve and move to do something else. It has taken too long to start using the software, or I've been using it for 6 months, but I don't see the true benefit in it, so I'll look for a different solution, or there's no point in us continuing and growing that. We want to probably do something else, and that's kind of how churn happens. So, two thoughts here. One is, if we want to make it simple for us, if we want to have successful recurring revenue business, we need to ensure recurring value to customers. That's kind of the key. And recurring value is winning the customer back again and again by delivering value every day. The second thing, which is important here, is that customer success is not about managing renewals or managing churn. It's about managing the customer journey and keeping the customer on a green curve so they grow over time. And that's very difficult. And the third thing that I want to say, and that kind of goes into this outside-in mentality where we think about the journey from the customer perspective and not from our company's perspective, not from our silos. It's not moving from kind of handing the customer from marketing to sales to customer success to support and so forth. It's completely different. If we think about this from the outside in, is what is the experience and the value customers are getting. So another kind of wrong, in my opinion, assumption is to believe that customer success is yet another silo within the organization. So customer success is the VP of post-sale that has a team of post-sale that are dealing with post-sale activities with post-sale technology. That's not really helping that, because if we think that it's the journey, then we cannot solve the problem by just adding another silo, right? It just doesn't make sense. the way I want to kind of introduce a kind of a thought, the way we should think about this journey that we've talked is more like a monitoring, customer analytics, which means that if we had known where in this customer journey each customer is, and if we see indication of their falling or moving forward, then we can take action and make the impact, right? So if you think about this, instead of trying to manage the time and the events, the churn, the renewal, and things like that, I want to know when customers are not behaving in the way that I think they should, behaving in a sense that growing or seeing value and so forth, and I want to take action. And by thinking about this kind of more of an event-based approach versus system of record that I keep score of what's going on, we come up with some very cool ideas. So to simplify this even further, what we've done, and we've kind of introduced this for the first time in the Customer Success Summit on March, and then we've created this ebook that is available on Totango's website, which is called The 6 Secrets for Customer Success. And basically what we're trying to do is come up with principles that make sense in this new day and age, right? Principles that will help us as customer success leaders, as CEOs of SaaS companies, make decisions that put customers first. And we took the metaphor of the Agile Manifesto. So I guess everyone that was here in this business, 15 years ago, there was one way to build software, which was waterfall, and then people kind of figured out that that's not really effective, and that's going to figure out why software development is different than construction development, and came up with Agile Manifesto, Agile Software Development. I think since then it is clear that that's the methodology that is incumbent. But the way they've done this is, instead of saying you should do just this, it was more like you should value certain principles over other principles. It doesn't mean that the other principles are not important. It just means that those are more important. And we were trying to take similar approach. Instead of burning down the house, just kind of emphasize a little bit further what's more important and how we should make decisions when we think about customer success. So the first one, and there are 6, so don't worry, it's not going to be way too long, but the first one is value over customer management. And I kind of alluded into that a little bit before. It's all about customer value. And what is customer value? Customers are meeting their business objective. They buy B2B software, they want to be able to accomplish that because they have work to do and they need to get their work done. If it's a marketing software, their ability to acquire and generate leads. If it's a sales software, it's about managing the pipeline and creating predictability. If it's a help desk software, it's ability to improve customer satisfaction, and so forth and so forth. And the reason that's important, it's over customer management, it's over relationship management, is because the decision that people are making is, is this software that I'm buying does it meet my business goals? If it does, I'm happy. If it doesn't, I'm not happy. And even if I got baseball tickets and you name it, I still not going to use this software anymore, and I'm going to look for a different alternative that is going to help me solve my business problem. So that's the core of that. And I think kind of yesterday on the panel, it was clear that the companies that were here, and for those of you that were not here, we had Zendesk and New Relic and Xamarin and Jive. Those companies have said that it all starts with putting customers first, right? It's all about customer centricity. It's all about delighting customers. But I'm trying to generalize that and say it's all about value. First and foremost is value. And every product values something else, but being able to deliver that is the number one key that we need. And everything else is secondary. The second thing is customer actions over words, which means that, this means that if we are going to look at, if we're trying to understand where the customer is on the journey, we need to see Are they really getting the value, right? Talking to them is important, but it doesn't give you the exact metric that you're looking for. As a quick example from our day-to-day lives, I don't know who goes to the gym every day, but many of us are registered to a gym. So kind of mentally, we agree that going, to exercise daily is important, but only the people among us that actually go there, and I'm not one of them, unfortunately, actually declare that this is more important for them than doing something else. So I think we all need to think about this in the terms of priorities. People are extremely busy. There are, every day when you come to work, there are like 20, 25, 30 things that you need to do. You're only able to do 10 of those. And if you're not getting to this 11th and 12th, software or, task and so forth, it's not that important. That's what it means. So it's not that people don't, they lie by saying, yeah, I value that a lot. It's just, they value something else way more than valuing what you have to deliver. And for that reason, what they do is the true metric into whether they see value or not. Third point is real-time sensor over historical snapshots. Why is that important? We mentioned that cloud has made the world move that fast, in which decisions are made very quickly. I have a very good example that I always give, and it was when Totango was an early company. We're still early, but a few years ago, we've partnered with one of the marketing automation companies. It was the first time that we've launched on TechCrunch, and we wanted to capture leads. You know what marketing automation does. And we worked with that, and we were kind of 5 people in the company at that time. And 6 months later, we grew a little bit, and we brought in a marketing person, the first marketing person. And she decided that she, take marketing in a different direction. And we told her, look, we have this software here, and you may want to try using that. She was trying for a while, and then after a few days decided that it doesn't meet her business requirements, and then went and bought subscribed to a different software, although we still had 6 months left in the contract. And when the first company, the reason I'm not mentioning those names is because all of the marketing automation companies are friends of ours, so I don't want to say something negative toward one and positive toward the other. But when the folks when the VP of sales of this marketing automation company called me and said, hey, you're up for renewal and you should pay, and we are kind of personal friends, I kind of told him, look, Joe, really sorry, but we're not using your software anymore. And so he asked, why are you not using our software? I said, Dominic came over, she wanted to do this, she was not able to find this in your software, so she went and bought a different version of the software. And he said, but do you know that since then we've added this feature, and whatever she wanted to do is already available, but that was obviously irrelevant anymore because the decision was made in a time span of a week or so, and that's kind of how things went. So the reason I'm talking about real-time sensors is not just because now we can get data in real time and get status of customers and health and so forth updated momentarily. I think more important is this ability to actually influence the outcome, which means that if we identify those events within the customer journey that a decision is being built up for one reason or the other, as a company, we want to be able to know that and then make a decision, how do we want to influence that? And 6 months later, like in our case, was, way too late, right? We already made a decision, commitment, and so forth, and investment. Contextual engagement over periodic check-in. So that's kind of point number 4. So when I say contextual engagement is, and by the way, again, yesterday, it seems like yesterday's panel was kind of a build-up for today. Someone planned it for us. But anyway, everyone talked about data and the importance of data. And when we talk about data, and smart companies do think in data these days, customers expect us to know more about them. They know that when they use our products online, and every time they fill in a form or every time they do something, they know that this information should be available for us as vendors. So when we talk to them with context. Context meaning at the right time, about the right thing to help them get to the right point of where they're trying to get to. The days in which the account management approach, and Stephanie talked about this yesterday, account management in which you schedule a meeting once every month and you come in and check in and ask for how things are going, are complete waste of time for the customers. Customers expect a different type of relationship from the vendor, and the relationship is about how can I help you further. I've noticed that you're using this product and or this part of my product, but I can tell you that if you're going to use let's think about help desk, right? So you're using the ticketing system and it works really well for you, but I see that you have a lot of repeat questions. How about you use also the help center that we've created, and then you can document repeat questions and you don't need to answer those with people. These are the types of answers or engagement that customers expect, not how things are going, and so forth. It's, I have my own personal experience when I think I mentioned this in one of my talks, but when I moved to the US 2 years ago, I really missed soccer, right? So, what can you do? Here, there's no word for soccer and no word for football and no quality for that, and excuse me. So I wanted to see the Champions League. So I was a new Comcast Xfinity subscriber, and I was trying to, there was a game starting in 5 minutes, and I was trying to do through the remote all this experience of buying the new soccer channel and so forth, and it was the game already started by the time I wasn't able to get this to work. I called their support, and then I started everything from scratch. What are you trying to do? This horrible experience. I expected that once I call support, they will say, you're using international credit card, you should use an American credit card, give it to me, and that's it, right? And in 2 minutes, the problem is solved, and not in 24 hours. I missed the game, so it was kind of unfortunate. So that's what your customers are expecting these days. Third thing, I think this is very important. All customers over just the high-value customers. So, there was discussion in this forum, what is, I guess all customers, in a sense, all the right customers, right? All customers that can benefit from my business, regardless of size. Not just the big ones, not just the self-service one. How can I build the same experience to all of my customers, the same value to all of my customers? Obviously, the cost of dealing with a customer that pays $100,000 a year and a customer that pays $5,000 a year are different. So scaling and being able to deliver on that is really important. But we see that it can be done. If you remember New Relic from yesterday, New Relic sells to anywhere from startup to SMB companies to enterprise customers. Same thing as Zendesk, same thing as Xamarin. And we know that it can be done on the sales side of the house, and it can be done on the customer success side of the house. And it's important because I think when we think about democratization of the value, we can't break down the customer base into size. It needs to be more around, do they have the problem that we can actually solve? And we've seen a lot of good examples. A great example is Amazon Web Services that started with startups and now caters everyone. Startups and all the way through, and with the same experience. So how do you scale the experience? How do you scale the value in the sense that it is being able to deliver to all customers? A good tip in that is probably the product, right? Making sure that the product really is well suited for everyone versus trying to think about this differently. And the last one, where I think is really, really important, is all users versus just the decision makers. So when I say all users, I mean in many products, most products, there's the end user experience, the guy that is actually running, kind of getting the value, and there's the executive experience and the decision-making experience, and products should have, should have a solution for all of them, right? The guy that is running the marketing campaign should have a good experience to run marketing campaign, and the VP of marketing should have the reports of how marketing campaigns really work for us and what is the channel attribution and so forth. And the reason that's important is companies that only rely on decision makers are very vulnerable to switching to churn, because they've sold to this CIO or this, let's use CIO, and there's a new CIO 18 months later comes in and all the investment is out. So I would say a more successful approach could be something like making sure that the users are really happy in using the product, and when the new CIO comes in, he gets a pushback from the users. They're happy, it's good, it's working for us. Why should we switch for something else because of your personal relationship? And also the other way around. A lot of the ideas, a lot of the good products are starting from the bottoms up. So you start with the end user experience, and then you go to the executives and so forth. So to summarize, these are the kind of the six secrets, which is, again, value over customer management, customer action over words, real-time sensors over historical snapshots, contextual engagement, all customers and all users. And we've specifically created this in the form of a poster, so you can download that and use it. It's not for this event. We've created that because we do think that, if the world has changed, we need to talk about what has changed and how should we think about the world differently, instead of saying the world has changed, let's do the same thing again and again. It just, just doesn't add up to me. So this is available on a public site that we've created, which is called customersuccessmanifesto.com, which basically has two functions. One is you can download that, and second, you can add your signature if you believe in these ideas. And we have like 5 minutes left. I'm happy to open the floor for questions if there are any. Mike is behind you.
Can you share some insights in terms of, what level of usage different sizes of companies have? So I can imagine that, maybe once you get beyond the 20 or the 50 million or maybe 10, that you're starting to use a different level of engagement with your customers through this tool compared to, maybe when you do 1 or 5 million or something like that. So how do you see that happening in your customer base?
Yeah, so it's a very good question. I think, maybe I kind of missed that. Kaiser will kill me, but I think the reason why usage is important is not for the sake of usage. It's more around for the best indication into value being delivered, right? So the way we think about usage is those meaningful business activities that people do that will get them the value, and those business outcomes, right? Do they get the value or not, right? If I think about this in the sense of A/B testing tool, Optimizely as an example. So it's the fact that people actually create the tests and run them, and then they view the reports and they increase conversion, right? At the end of the day, the fact that they can run tests is essential for them to get the value, and the fact that they increase conversion is the business outcome. And those two things are important. So I don't think at the value level, that's kind of this all users and all customers, it doesn't change. It's the same thing. I think what does change sometimes is the level of engagement, the type of engagement. So what do you do? Sometimes it's because for big companies, you want to put more people on the account, and for small companies, you want to do this differently, kind of more in a campaign-based or program-based approach. But from what you're looking at, it's directly correlated to the value. It has nothing to do with the size of the company. It has a lot to do with the value customers are expecting. Over time, obviously, products evolve, so there are other values to a product. They become more enterprise, and they're kind of, you want to see that people are using the enterprise features and so forth. But the key is it's not usage for the sake of usage. It's usage as the best indicator into value being delivered to customers. Make sense?
Guys, how do you measure that value? Because what I can understand, which is important if you come into a company with a great value story, bring value to the company so they can meet their own objectives, then you get started. But there should be some kind of measurement that you convince the company that you really do bring that value, because it's an experience as well. It's a customer journey, it's an end user journey, and they try to forget very soon how it was in the past, and not knowing anymore how it is today. So do you take care, do you have certain things for that, so you can report into the customer, convince them about that the value is really there, and so forth and so on?
Yeah, so it's kind of a very, I mean, if the question is how do we actually implement that in terms of, what is usage for which application, and what do you do with it once you kind of figure out what's going on? I would say that the way we think about this is, first and foremost, is what is the value and what's the customer journey? Once you are being able to answer those questions to yourself, and every company has to answer that, what is the value that we are actually delivering, and what's the, let's say, optimal customer journey? And there could be multiple customer journey. There could be a journey for North American accounts, and different journey for European accounts. There could be for big accounts one journey, for small accounts different journey, and so forth. But once you model that is kind of pen and paper first and foremost, before even kind of getting into the software, then you can start. So the idea is you have the, let's say, optimal customer journey, and you build, you know what it means to get value across the customer journey. What's the first month, first 3 months, and so forth. Then you can model that into health. You can model that into key events that you want to be aware of, so you can take action, and so forth and so forth. So that's kind of how it works. The good news is that over time, once you have enough data that is being built into your data repository, you can start doing what we call machine learning about experiences, right? Being able to answer questions like, what makes customer churn? Which segment of customer churn more, and why do they churn, or what makes customer renew, and which customer? But I think kind of fundamentally, it's not about the data is going to tell you things that you didn't know. The data is going to optimize the journey. If you haven't thought about your customer journey, you're not building the right product. That's kind of, I can tell you that up front. And if you think about the journey and the value proposition, then you can start building the modeling behind that to take action. And the key, by the way, is not about all this kind of sophisticated modeling and so forth. The key is to be able to know which customer needs attention and why. And that's kind of the key. If I know which customer needs attention, to know which customer needs attention, I need to know a lot, but I know that they need attention, I know why, so now I can take the right action to address the issue, right? And it doesn't need to be just a negative issue. It could be also an upsell opportunity. Upsell is not at the end of the term. Upsell is at need, right? When the customer shows signals of need, then you can upsell. You don't need to wait to the 12 months term just to go and upsell, right? The contract length and the times are not necessarily directly correlated to the outcome. The reason that we do look at those terms is because this is when we know that, what happened. Was there a churn event, or an upsell event, or a renewal event? But the leading indicators comes from a customer need and a customer value-related needs, and not from anything else. I hope I answered your question. Any other questions? Sure.
Start coming back to my earlier question.
Sure.
Can you tie it back to the annual contract value? Because obviously, if your annual contract value is $5,000 or $10,000 or euros, it's a different story compared to 100,000. I mean, is there anything you can say there about the relationship?
So it's again, I know that it kind of sounds. Make it very concrete. Let me give you an example. If we look, for example, at one of our customers, Optimizely, the way they run their customer success organization. They have a group of folks who are responsible for value delivery for the customers. They're called TAMs, Technical Account Managers. They're kind of the guys who know how to match the business requirement to the product and generate the value. And they're kind of more of a strategic account managers, if you will. These are the folks that are more kind of responsible for kind of driving the revenue further with the customer, actually serving them better. So the way it works, the TAMs are all over, right? There are kind of small, medium, large accounts. The account managers are built a little bit differently in a sense that there's the ratio between number of CSMs and accounts is different. And usually it's kind of, if you want to have, I don't think there's a ballpark number, but people are trying to get to a 5 million ratio of ACV, one person to 5 million in ACV. Not all companies, depending on stage and so forth, not all companies have the same ratio. So I would say it's all over the map. It's very hard to find, but people think about it more in a portfolio management type of approach. But the question is how do you it's not about just the ratio, it's what do they do, right? What do they do? Because at the end of the day, customers value. That's what they do. This is kind of, that's how the decision-making process goes. And even if and we had a lot of conversation around that in the past few days, some folks say things like, yeah, but what if people get value from a product and they churn? Yes, it could happen, right? I mean, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't focus on that. It just means that nothing is perfect, and I think where you need to improve is how do I identify those events in which value is not at the level that it should be. I mean, even if they get value but they don't get enough, or if I'm a marketing automation, all I do is people are actually sending just emails from my marketing automation and don't use lead scoring or sophisticated features. Yes, I'm vulnerable to a different product that only sends emails, and from $25K a year, there's a solution for $3K a year. I'm vulnerable to that. So my objective is to get my customers to use the advanced features and so forth. So it's not usage per se, just logging in or not. It's what do they do and how deep are they kind of utilizing the product, so I can take it to the next level. But just to summarize, and that's kind of my final note here, I think it's if there's something I can leave with, I think it's going to be a very wrong approach to think about customer success as account managers. If we think about them as account managers, then they're not doing their job. They're actually trying. We are arming them with the wrong tools, and they're really ineffective. And yes, obviously, good people will do some good stuff, but as a system, it's a system that is broken by definition. So thank you all.